All right. Welcome to another episode of Harshing's podcast today. We have some special guests. Guest, please introduce yourself.
I thought this was the voice party.
Oh, no, wrong one.
No, my name's Cervando.
I'm Rosa.
How you doing, guys? Thank you for coming in. I know we've been trying to get you guys to come along for a while, and it hasn't happened, but thank you for coming in today.
Yep.
You guys have quite a travel, huh?
Yeah, we went to Mexico for a month. That's why we couldn't do the podcast.
Yeah. We were trying to squeeze it in before you guys left, but it couldn't happen.
Yeah, Mario's too busy.
I know. No, but yeah, thank you guys for coming in. And I know it's kind of like a week by week thing. We try to schedule it, but thank you for coming in. But so one of the reasons I wanted you guys to come along is because you guys are first time parents, and I know that can be challenging sometimes. And I'm a person that likes to know as much as I can, and if I can help out, then I like it. But my first question to you guys is where do you guys meet? Because that's always round one.
That's always the first question.
Always the first question.
It's been so long, I don't remember, so I'll let her answer it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, we actually met in San Jose, January 9th. What year was it?
2017.
2017. Yeah, and it was at an event from Los Perdidos de Sinaloa. It was at Culichi VIP. We actually didn't formally meet, but we saw each other there for the first time, and he looked through me all over on Facebook until he found me, I guess. I don't know how. That's kind of creepy.
Stalker.
Damn, he found me. So. Yeah. And that's where it started. You want to continue?
Yeah, well, I want to add that day, it was Monday, and it was a work day for me. So I ended up calling off because I wanted to record for my YouTube channel. And to me, that was more important than work. But I'm glad that I took that decision because, I got to meet her. She was friends with some of the family of the singer, so that's how I got to know her a little bit more, and that's how I found her also on Facebook. So it's not like I wasn't looking through too many pages. I was able to see them through mutual friends.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. So you were there for, what were you there for? You just for the concert, or?
I was there to record, and we were doing photography. Mm-hmm. And so when we went outside, when the artist was taking pictures, I took a picture of them, of her with the artist and her family and the artist's family. So, yeah. All right. Also, what's funny, and we mentioned that 3 years to the same date on January 9th is when our baby was born.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly,
oh, wow.
Exactly on the 9th.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
You guys planned it out perfect.
I guess
Coincidence.
so. Coincidence.
Yeah. So after you after you looked for her, how did you message, or what did you tell her?
Well, the first thing you want to do on Facebook is poke them. That breaks the ice.
I forgot that existed.
You poke them. You like their pictures, and then just message them. Be like, "Hey, weren't you that girl at the concert?" Pretend like you don't know. Like, I think I might have seen you. I might have noticed you.
I even got pictures of you.
Oh, that's right. And let me tag you in this picture.
That's what's up. So, what did you say after he messaged you? What did you think?
I think I did ask him how he found me, but I had commented on someone's videos that we had mutual friends in, and I guess that's where he saw my comment, and he messaged me from there, and yeah.
Well, she probably thought I was a creeper because she looked at my profile, and she saw that I was older than her too, because we have a somewhat big age gap. Right?
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Yeah, you?
I'm 22.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's not that bad.
No.
A difference, but people like to say, "Oh, when you were in high school, she was in middle school," or they like, when you were 8 years old, she wasn't born, or she was just a baby. I don't like to compare it like that.
Yeah, me neither, bro.
When I met her, she was 18, so it was legal.
That's what's up. So when did it come? When did it become for you guys? Like, it was like just talking, and then more into like a serious relationship. Did you guys know? It was kind of like gradually just got into it.
I want to say that it happened pretty fast. So we we met in January. By Valentine's Day, I did ask her out on Valentine's Day with a card that I made for her. She did want to take some time before she answered, so we waited. We waited a little bit longer, but we were already dating by then and taking ourselves serious, talking to each other in a serious way, and we didn't end up asking. I didn't end up asking her out again until around May. It was May 11th. Okay. So and it happened because she was like, "Is he gonna ask me out already? Like, it's already been a couple months." But I did want to meet her family, and I wanted her to meet my family also before.
Oh, so you guys met each other's families before, like, you made it official?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, that's what's up.
Well, that was official already.
Yeah, that's what's up. So when he asked you, he kind of mentioned like you kind of were expecting it, right?
Yeah.
Were you? And if so, like, how did he make you feel like, like, okay, it's time, when is he going to ask me out?
Well, the first time he did ask me out, I kind of was in shock because I felt like it was a little bit too soon. I had just met him, but I feel like in my heart, I knew that he was someone special. But I think I wanted a little more time to get to know him a little more. So by the time it was May, I was already getting kind of worried. I'm like, does he still want to ask me out, or is he gonna, back up? But yeah, he ended up asking me out on May 11th, and we have already been together for 4 years.
Yeah, nice.
I have a question. Did you feel like maybe you wanted to wait, maybe because of like the age gap? Did you like, I don't know, was that like a thing that you thought about?
I actually, not really, but I actually dated a guy also with a little bit of an age difference before him, which now I compare him and that guy who I dated before, and I'm glad I made the decision I made with him because, I mean, I see so much difference in between both of them, and he was so much more mature. He was a lot different, in many different ways, and that other guy, yeah, he basically wasn't the right guy.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They say that older guys are usually more mature, but
Yeah.
it's not always the case.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this older guy plays Pokemon Go every day, all day. I mean, that's
every other day,
every day. In the middle of the night, I wake up and he's like,
That's not immature at all.
No, it's good for the man.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I've met. I know people our age, and they're not all the way there mature. It depends.
Depends.
Yeah. So
Who are we talking about? Alicia?
nah, I mean he's pretty mature. It's just a jokester. I'm gonna mention somebody else later. Nah, but just like random guys, like people that I worked with, over the years, older than me, around this time, and like still immature. But it's just.
I think you see it in the workplace a lot. I mean, I work with a lot of older people, and you see how they behave. They behave like if they were still in high school.
like age does not mean maturity.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It can usually it does.
Yeah.
You wise up. You're like, hey, I'm getting close to my 30s. I've been wasting my life all the way. I've been partying. All my 20s, so I need to chill. I need to settle down.
And there's just people that are just comfortable. Like, I live with, I live at home, and I'm comfortable with where I am at right now. Like not minimum wage, but minimum hours at my job, and it's getting me by.
We're not judging anyone.
No, of course, but
not at all.
No judgment.
But I think that's where the parents come in. Yeah. Well, I mean, you eventually have to say, hey, you're at that age, you have to get something going for yourself. I think those are some of the things that we want to do different as parents. Yeah. My parents were nice to me. Yes, they supported everything I was doing. That's great. I do feel maybe I would be a little bit different if I was pushed. As soon as you hit 18, hey, do this, do that. I did work immediately after when I finished high school. I worked at Target, and then I was going to CC. So I was staying active, but I feel like it would have helped us a lot more.
Yeah.
What do you think, babe?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So one of the things that I kind of got from you when you guys were like describing each other. So when you saw her, what were one of the qualities or one of the things that you liked about her? Like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna look at her later, or like look her up.
I always tell her it was her eyes and her smile, because she looked really happy. And she really loved the group. She really loved music.
And what's
She was having fun.
She was
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah. And what about
She
you?
wasn't drinking.
She wasn't?
I hope not.
She was 18,
She was
right?
18.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Isn't that legal? 18?
No,
No?
21.
In Mexico.
In Mexico. So one of the things that, of course, when he messaged you, did you remember him right away, or did it?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. Yeah. Well,
So-
his picture, he looked exactly the same.
I was wearing the same thing. The same shirt and same hat.
Like, does this guy ever change? No.
So what was one of the things that intrigued you about him?
His smile. Yeah.
Camera.
It seemed, sweet and genuine just by his smile. I could tell.
He does
So
have a
you
good
were
smile.
both instantly attracted to each other.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. And it's sometimes you look at like the time frames, like that's how it started, and now you're here, with kids and all. I know me and her. I mean, at least me, I kind of look back on how we started and where we're at now. So it's kind of crazy, like like just a simple like I'm gonna look her up and message her, and then kind of gradually getting to where it's at now. It's kind of like it flies, and it's amazing sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
You guys were dating during the MySpace days too.
Well, we were kind of like at that time where it's kind of dropping down, and I always just tease her because she showed me her MySpace ones, and
Oh my God!
she was
no.
hella ghetto, bro.
No.
she was ghetto.
No,
just
it's not.
this be your girl.
Stop.
We were all ghetto. I think Mario was ghetto too.
I was.
Yeah, I
was
think he
hella ghetto.
was,
I mean,
yeah.
I admit it though. I mean,
With the grills.
tall
long
tees,
hair.
remember the tall tees, bro?
That's the Mario I was expecting still.
Yeah, nah, she changed me, man. No, time changed. Time changed.
It was that one button-up shirt I bought you.
Yeah, no, I remember we were going to, it was Anchor Blue, right? In the mall. And same baggy shirts. And then she pulled out a shirt, like, nah, I don't.
You fit it?
It's too fit. It's too tight. But then she showed me one that was like, the colors were like, okay, I can fuck with that. And then after that, my style changed almost immediately. Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, so let's kind of fast forward a couple of years. You guys have a child, right? How did that happen? When did you find out? How did you tell him? How did you guys tell the family? What were you guys feeling? There's a lot of questions there.
Okay, so I actually found out before him. I wasn't having any symptoms or anything, but the menstruation obviously wasn't coming, so that's why I decided to take a test just in case, but I really was not expecting it for it to be positive, so I was completely shocked. I had a bunch of mixed emotions because I feel like I wasn't ready. I was still in college and working, so I kind of thought that it would have stopped me somehow or something. I think everyone thinks about that. But I decided to keep it to myself, just told one of my friends, and then I think like a day or two later, I decided to tell him. I think he was in shock as well. I feel like he didn't really know what to say. And I think that, I just gave him a little time to soak it in, and then yeah, you want to tell them how you felt?
Yeah, kind of like how Mario described.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was shocking because it's not something I expected. I think usually everyone wants to wait for the right moment, but now that I think of it now, I don't think that right moment ever comes because we want to have everything. We want to have the right, we want to buy a house. We want to have the right car. We want to be at a certain level in life, and I think the child doesn't stop you from getting those things. It can actually push you and motivate you more.
Yeah.
That's true.
But going back to how I felt, I wasn't. I mean, I wouldn't say I was happy. I feel bad now because when I told my parents, I didn't tell them smiling. I wasn't excited. I just told them. I said you're gonna be grandparents. The more time that passed, I did look at it in a different way, and I said maybe it'd be a good thing for us. The reason why I'm gonna mention we didn't plan it. Of course, we didn't plan it. We weren't using protection, but we were going off of the menstrual cycle, the calendar, and that day that it happened, we didn't check the calendar. So, and I always told her the calendar would say you have a less chance this day. Okay. But I always said there's always a chance. All right, even if it says at least chance today, there's always a chance.
Yeah.
So, and it happened right after one of the parties. So, so we were all dressed up. She was in the drugs. You know,
they got to you, bro. You got to guys.
We forgot to check the calendar. We should have posted it on the wall. Wherever we went, just have a calendar.
Put on the arm, bro.
No, I mean, it was meant to be then.
Yeah, it was. You know.
Yeah. But you know what? The more we've been together, I think we've learned also that we don't really need to wear protection. We don't like to use certain things if they're bad for us. And based on some of the research that we've done, you know, condoms are bad for you. They can cause erectile dysfunction, and they can cause hormonal problems also for the women.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
So that's something that a lot of people don't know, and so you have a lot of youth having sex and using birth control as well. And I want to say that if you're not ready, you should wait till the moment, because you shouldn't go around having sex at a young age.
Yeah.
If you do, that's your choice. But personally, me, I waited till I was 23 to lose my virginity. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to be different. You know, I don't want to be like everyone else. I didn't want to lose my virginity when I was in middle school. And that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very common.
You want to comment on that, babe? I don't want to be the only one talking.
No, but it's true though. Like, I think having condoms so accessible and so open to, like, you know, everybody. You know,
they have a clinic at the schools giving out free condoms.
Abortions, everything is. If you make a mistake, we can fix it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
here's a plan B.
And I think that's encouraging more sex.
Yeah.
More unprotected sex and more sex at a younger age, because before people were a little bit more picky of who they were with.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's so accessible, and you know, it's not like I didn't know this, like all the information you gave me, and I'm pretty sure like 100%, maybe 95% of the people out there, young kids, they don't know that either. You know, and they don't think about it like, oh, you know, I want to have sex. You know, here's a protection so I don't have a kid, and there we go. You know, it's that accessible, and it's that like kind of like, you know.
I think also pornography, because it's easily accessible. Also, it's in your mind. It's pushing sex in your mind in all scenarios, because you have pornography at school, at work, pornography in pretty much every situation, and so that gets your mind into thinking sex everywhere. Yeah. So wherever I'm at, you know, sex
especially
can break
nowadays,
out.
it's just like you have your, you know, phones and like any ads or whatever, anything. It's just.
And I'm not afraid to admit, I told her before that I did deal with addiction to pornography. That's something that during high school, and after I dealt with, but I was able to overcome. I was introduced to pornography at a young age. I think I was 12 when I was introduced to it, you know, by friends, older friends than me. And that's also more common, I think now. Because I've talked to people that have told me the same thing. Hey, someone told me they were 8 years old and they were introduced to pornography.
Yeah, I think I was 10 when it happened. Yeah, so it's like, you know.
So someone just introduced it to you, like, here you go, watch this.
Yeah. Here's a free video.
Yeah, I mean, and you're young, like, you know, you have cousins, some a little older, some a little younger.
They gave them a mischief look, like. Enjoy.
Exactly, bro. But yeah, and I think you know, same thing with me. Like, you know, when
You're a man now, Mario.
No, but I think kind of similar situation with me is like, you know, I didn't have sex till I met her, so I lost my virginity. This one right here. But it's kind of the same thing. Like, you know, I think when you're in high school, you're pressured to, like, you know, thinking that you need to have sex, or that if you're not, you know, you fall into a different category. You're not cool, or you're, you know, there's a lot of pressure.
When it comes to men, I think that's what we talk about the most too, right? Everyone wants to say, "Oh yeah, I have this many. I've been with this many women."
Yeah,
and some of them lie.
Yeah. I mean, some, of course. And I know, like, you know, in middle school, I knew people that already, like, you know, having sex. So it's like there is a sense of like pressure, and you know. I'm not gonna lie. I felt at one point that I needed to like have sex just to get it over with, but it's just like, you know, I think one of the things that that happened with me is like I was always very picky on girls in particular. Like, you know, and I told her like one of the first things that I saw her and that I really liked her was her smile. And she's always like, you know, being kind of like, I don't like my, because around that time she, you know, she didn't have braces, so she was like, you know, self-conscious about it. But like that's one of the things that I liked about her, the way she smiled, and she was like very like, very open to talking to everybody. You see her and walking around the school, and she'll say hi to everybody. You know, she wasn't stuck up, and that's one of the things I hated the most, was like stuck up people. And you know, it just naturally with me, like it just kind of like just happened. Like I didn't have sex, personal choice, and I just honestly, I don't feel like I felt like I found the right one. So you know,
I want to say sex. I think it's something important for a relationship. Some people say to wait, you know, until you've been together for a long time. I don't think there's anything wrong with having sex initially. For women, I know she probably thought, hey, you know, he might not take me serious after this. But sex, I think, has been an important part of our relationship, just because it helps us understand each other more. And I mean, for us, you know, we've had struggles, we've had problems in our relationship, and just like any other relationship, and we've been able to overcome them as well. But I'm the type of person, and I told her, if I'm the type of person that if I end the relationship, I don't go back, and so I wanted to do everything I could possibly to fix it before I ended it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think with me, one of the conversations that we had, and this is after a fight. I remember we were, I think it was the carnival by Richmond, the Hilltop Mall. You know how they have the carnivals. Mm-hmm. It was like around that time. And we got into a big fight, you know, and I told her, like, you know, I told her straightforward, like, you know, if I was to think this is not working, instead of me going out and cheat on you, I would just go ahead and like just end it, you know, because you know, just personal experience with my parents, you know, I've learned that there's a certain amount of respect that I need to give, you know, her as my girlfriend, now as my wife. And I also saw my own mom and her, like her kind of her thing. Yeah. So I just always felt like, you know, like the better thing to do is just drop off the relationship, like it's not working out, and then go on our own lives. Because at the end of the day, I feel like it would benefit her and myself a little bit better. Yeah, we would. I mean, if she liked me, you know, she would suffer a little bit, right? Yeah. And same thing with me. But it would be a lot less painless if you were to go that route, than as opposed, like, you know, I was to betray her, or I was to like do something else that would, like, you know, make her feel like even worse. So, you know, in a sense, I always was smart about it. Like, you know, I'm just gonna like step away instead of cheating. Because I think one of the things, kind of mentioning sex, is like it is important in a relationship, and with me in particular, like pretty much sex is like the most important thing. You know, I think we talked about this before in a previous episode, and then we also talked about it in the voice party. Is the 5 love languages. It's a book that she read and she introduced to me, and it kind of tells you like different ways that a certain gesture can make you feel, and sometimes a certain gesture makes you feel like a little bit more like loved. So there's like a bunch of them, like, you know, gift giving is one of them, where you give somebody a gift, you just make them feel a lot happier. The other one's like acts of service, words of affirmation, little things like that. And then there's also the physical touch, and that's where I fall in, you know. And after our kids, after we had Aiden, and then we after had Adi, like, you know, a lot of our sex kind of went down, because, you know, we're all busier. You know, we have to focus on the kids, and the sex goes down. So there was a point where in my life I was always frustrated, and I felt like I was always mad. And it just played a lot of part of that. That was my.
I think it was
language.
like on both our parts. Like I wasn't there with your love language. Like I wasn't meeting you there, and then you, in return, you weren't meeting my love language. Yeah. So it was like we were both just disconnected completely.
And it was like a rough time. And I think the hardest for us was when our firstborn was born, Aiden, because it kind of like shook our world. You know, we were what, 19, 20 years old, and he was like a cry baby. Like he would cry left and right. Yeah, and it's just like he would cry the whole day, and it was like frustrating, you know. And
then cry the whole night.
Yeah, and we would just do so many things, and he would cry, you know. But that kind of shook us up, because we got into a lot of situations where we were fighting a lot, And then we were also living with her mom at the moment.
And that didn't help.
Didn't help. That made it worse. It was just adding pressure. So there was a time where we could have like just broke it off. Like, you know, her mom gave her advice like, oh, maybe you don't have to be with him. You can go your separate ways. And I mean, it could have gone that way, you know. And
it happened. Yeah. But luckily, you guys talked about it and were able to work it out.
Yeah.
I think on our side as well. I mean, she had friends that were telling her, hey, do this, do that, and they weren't giving her good advice, right? If I was traveling, they were telling her, hey, he's over there cheating on you, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the topics that I wanted to talk about, though, when it comes to cheating is how high of an expectation we have of our couple, and I think that's the reason why cheating is more acceptable now, or just leaving someone because a lot of people think that they deserve more than what they have, and I think also pornography plays a role in that because you know, I would consider even pornography as cheating because you're hiding it from your partner, but you're thinking of other going with another person or leaving them. And something I think you should talk about it first rather than just do it. Personally, that's how I feel, mm-hmm. and I've always been that way. Babe,
no,
you want to say something about that?
I do think pornography in particular plays an important role with us because she doesn't like it. So one of the things, and it just to me it's kind of weird but funny. Growing up, I was introduced into pornography. So you're a young kid, you got hormones, and you would watch it. But then once I got into like middle school / high school, that's something that kind of drifted away because it wasn't really in my likes, you know, and sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. And she has a problem with pornography. So one of the things that was her concern was me watching pornography for the same reason. Yeah. It kind of is like cheating because in a sense, you're kind of fantasizing about something mm-hmm. else and you can drift off wherever, left to right, you know. So in a sense, it kind of is like betrayal.
I think also it's a false reality because a lot of the women that come out on there have plastic surgery. Mm-hmm. A lot of the men that are there use Viagra, mm-hmm. Or they use something to enhance, their size, yeah. Or to last longer, or they cut the video. It's not. I think people look at, and I've heard this from men that they look at pornography and they feel less of a man. Because they see someone lasting 30, 40 minutes, an hour, and then they think that's how it should be for them. Yeah. And I can tell you that sex isn't about 50 Shades of Grey or doing bondage. You don't have to do all that. If you want to experiment, that's fine. But that's not. I feel like if you start doing that, you're gonna keep seeking more and more. You're not gonna be content with what you have. Yeah. And it's not really necessary.
And it's kind of falls into the category of addiction because you also see people with body lifting steroids. Yeah. You get to a certain point like I need to get bigger, mm-hmm. steroids. Like no, I need to get bigger, and it just kind of just feeds onto it, and it becomes an addiction. Yeah. And
it's like I want more.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons also that I told her that if she ever did surgery, that I would end the relationship because it's not something I want to encourage. Mm-hmm. I don't want her to, get a nose job and then say, oh, now I want to do this and I want to do that because I know deep down in the future she's going to regret it. She's mm-hmm. not going to be happy, and she might be dealing with pain in the future. Yeah, when she gets older.
And that's kind of touching on a subject is kind of like even social media and even stores where you go, the advertisement. It all plays a part where you make yourself feel like, I want to be like this. I want to be like that, and I want to have what they have, based on a Facebook relationship, Instagram relationship, like, oh, they look happy. Like what's happening behind the scenes, Yeah. Like a perfect example is Target. You have models and mm-hmm. they have they're advertised for this, like, oh, I want to have what she's having. But yeah, what else is she doing to get to that place? It's just, society the way it is, it just kind of messes you up.
I mean, they talk about this a lot on social media, don't believe everything you see because influencers or whatever. It's just that's not really how they look. They use filters. It's just
makeup. Even some of the male models use makeup. Yeah. Me and Mario aren't using makeup today.
Me today. No, that's why I'm drinking hella water because I was like rushing setting up. I'm like, I'm hella hot, bro. So, but yeah,
He's
no,
gonna come out all
I told you
sweaty.
it's stuffy in here.
No, it's all right.
but yeah, no, I do think, luckily for us, we've had a good communication where, we kind of gotten past that hurdle with trust, because trust was definitely one of those that where it took her a little bit longer than I did, just because all my life I've always felt like comfortable with myself. Like, yeah, I'm short. People bully me. That's fine. I get used to it. You pass a certain point in your life where like okay, I've heard every short joke, so bring something new. So I've kind of gained a sense. I kind of gained a confidence where okay, I'm comfortable with the way I am. If she wants to be with me, then I'm okay with that. But it took her a little bit longer, to get into that, into that same phase.
To feel secure in the relationship. I think I was very insecure at the beginning of the relationship. It's just from past, I guess, trauma, I just thought like all men were dogs. Like all men are like cheaters, all men. Like you're driving in your car and you're just staring at other girls. Like that's what I saw from my stepfather. And I just thought like that's what everybody does.
So
I think someone on Instagram said all dogs go to heaven.
that was me.
Was that Mario?
Yeah, that was me, bro. That was me. No,
the good dogs.
The good dogs, bro, not the bad ones. But that's something that we struggled with a lot. Honestly, like a lot. But I think one of the things that helped out the most with us was just talking. Because even when I was working at graveyard shifts at McDonald's, after picking me up like 2 a.m, 1 a.m, we would just go to the Richmond Marina and just talk. Not even do anything, just talk about our day or anything that was going through, and it made it easy for us to connect and keep that communication going.
I mean, we needed to kind of step away because like we said, we lived with my mom, so we had to kind of find our little space, like our space to ourselves, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much do something similar. I mean, just a couple nights ago, I think we probably spent like 3 hours just laying down and talking. And she, whenever we have that, I know she feels better, and she says I'm her best friend.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I want to say one of the most important decisions that we had to talk about was, when we had the baby, was what were we gonna do, right? Is she still gonna continue to work? If I'm gonna move to Modesto, because she grew up in Modesto, and at the end we decided that she was gonna stay at home. She was gonna be a stay-at-home mom, and I was gonna continue to work my job here in Richmond because in Modesto it might pay a little bit less. The rent might be cheaper, but I was used to working out here, and I did think that my salary was enough for both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're commuting?
No, we live in Richmond.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm jobless. I left my job.
Oh.
I know. I remember you told me that. But your parents still live over there, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
my family's
So that's why
So
you guys
you moved
commute.
out here. Okay.
Okay. So
I was like, whoa, that's a long drive.
It's an hour and a half.
yeah, shit. That's
But if you guys ever want to go, Culichi Town is over there.
yeah, is it
What?
good?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
The who?
Culichi Town.
Seafood.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, what?
What's that?
what else is there in Modesto? It's hot over there.
Yeah, it is. I remember we went to where did we go to recently?
We went to go pick up the dog that we didn't end up
Oh yeah,
bringing home.
we were gonna go get a bull terrier over there, and
Before we got our boy.
yeah, it was hot as fuck, bro. AC was blowing up, and I could still feel the heat. I'm like, it's bad. Yeah, but
I think I like the heat a little bit more than she does, and she grew up over there. Just because, she prefers being inside in the AC, but I still ran a couple times this week in the heat, so it was rough.
yeah, not bad. Yeah, no, I prefer the cold because that's just me. So okay,
I
so
do too.
yeah, kind of drifting away a little bit. Going back to you guys have your baby, right? What was it post birth? Is there anything that you guys struggled with? Is there anything that you guys found easy? Anything of that sort?
We struggled with the name.
Yeah.
What's your name?
What else, baby?
Her name's Aliana. We decided probably like 2 hours after I had given birth to her. Yeah. So it was really last minute. But the thing is, I feel like, I don't know if it's with all men, but with him, I kept giving him so many names. Like, what do you think? Do you like this name? And he'll just be like,
It's all men.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, well,
For
anyways,
the first one, it's all men.
he was like that, and it was just kind of frustrating, because I wanted to have the name already, and I spent like probably all night, looking for a name every day. And when
So
I
you
told
guys
him,
knew what you guys were having, though?
yeah,
Okay.
we did. And then when I told him at the hospital that day, I'm like, what about Aliana? And he was like, oh, I like it. I'm like, I had told you like 4 months ago that name.
And he was like, no.
It sounded better now.
So I see her. She looks like an Aliana.
Well, if it was a boy, it would have been easy. I would have just named him Cervando.
That's what I wanted to name our first. We had a boy, Aiden. I wanted to name him Mario, and he was just giving me such a hard time. And I was like, you know what? I'll just name him whatever I want. So I named him Aiden.
Yeah, it's because deep down I felt like she really didn't want Mario, so I didn't want to give him the name Mario. She didn't really want it. So I was like, oh, how about Pancracio? Oh, how about Sopilote?
Literally,
So I started
that's what he
like
was
messing
telling
around.
me.
Yeah, so
And
like
then I was like, you know what? You're out of this
Yeah.
decision. I'm gonna make it on my own.
yeah, I regret it, but I mean,
I mean, he
especially-
likes it when like friends
Yeah.
like call him, "Hey, little Mario." Like
Yeah.
he loves that.
and we actually just recently talked about like, oh, why don't we just like switch his name to Mario? But no, I think he's stuck on Mario.
That's too late now.
Yeah, he's an Aiden.
Yeah.
I think when it came to my name, at first she was kind of like, no. We were talking about this a few weeks ago on how if we were to have a boy, it would be Cervando, but because my dad is Cervando and I'm Cervando, and we want to keep the legacy alive with a C instead of an S, because a lot of Cervandos are with an S. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never heard the name Cervando before you. Actually.
and the bad thing is that it's hard to pronounce, so
Yeah.
that's why I kind of thought about it, because I'm like
Probably
in
in school?
school everyone chopped up my name, and then you had people calling me cilantro and cerveza and Cervantes. I'm like, I don't know where they get that from.
I know.
Oh my god.
Well, even with like a simple name Mario, bro, like like I hate
Mario.
Mario, like where do you get the E, like Mario? And it's funny. I was telling her like recently, like I appreciate when people actually say my name right, Mario. And it's rare when people say Mario instead of Mario or Mario. It's just it's crazy with names, but
Yeah, there's a couple people at work that he's like, I like how that person says my name.
yeah, like you know what? I like how she says my name, Mario. It's just straightforward. So besides the name, anything else you guys struggle with?
Yeah, I think that sleep, obviously, you lose a lot of sleep, and I feel like that puts more stress in so many ways, I think that was one of the hardest things for me, because I was always worried about the baby. I think every mom's always, more worried than the dad, I feel, because, I was always checking to see if she was breathing, if she was okay, if she was hot, if she was cold. And that made me lose a lot of sleep. And between the breastfeeding, kind of getting to know your baby is hard, and he did help me a lot. He was a big help.
If I wasn't asleep, because I'm a heavy sleeper. Like most of the men, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm super easy.
Yeah, sometimes I would be like, "Hey, baby,
Well, not anymore.
can you go get her a bottle? Can you make her a bottle? Because we would take turns. I would breastfeed, and then he would make her a bottle the second feed, and he would not wake up, and I'd be like, babe, and he wouldn't not wake up, and I got so mad one time, and I was just like, are you serious right now? Like, you're supposed to go get a bottle and help me feed her, and instead you're asleep. And he's like, okay, I'll go, and he fell asleep again.
I remember that one time I asked Mario for the baby powder, and you ended up putting it on yourself or something.
I went back to sleep.
I was like,
At least he didn't put on a diaper.
What?
And it's funny because I always think about those two scenarios. Another scenario was she asked me to pass her the bottle. It was already done, so I had to give her the bottle, and she kind of wakes me up, and right next to me there was we had a big jar of pennies. It was maybe I don't know,
Coins or whatever.
8 pounds worth of it, right? So she's like, "Oh, pass me the bottle." So I grab it, like nothing. I'm over here giving it to her. What is that? Oh shit, my bad. And imagine if I would have dropped it. I was, yeah. But just things like that.
You would have killed our kid.
Yeah, and I'm also a heavy sleeper. I mean, not so much now, but before, yeah, especially because I used to do graveyard shifts too. So
Yeah.
a lot of my sleep was just jacked up. But
well, another thing, if she wants to talk about is postpartum depression, because it is something real, and a lot of people don't talk about that.
Yeah, we had Ale and Eduardo from Rich and I, friends that we had, and she also went through postpartum. We talked about it before that. She never went to a doctor and got diagnosed, but I remember she displayed a lot of those things. Like where it's like like we look at it back then, like damn. That's why it was also so hard, because of the postpartum depression. Then you have all this stress with like her mom and Aiden not being an angel, you can say, just crying all the time. It just added it, and it takes a toll. And as Latinos, I don't know, Mexican, also families, like you don't talk about it. You're just kind of told like, oh, it's just, just get over it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you experience postpartum?
I think that I didn't really know that it was. Well, do you think that I got postpartum?
Well, I don't like to label it in a medical term, because then they want you to take medication, right? And I think it's something that even I felt a little bit, because I was losing sleep. I still had to go to work, and I told her this before. Some of the thoughts that maybe you have during postpartum, I might have had as well. You think about the baby, and you think about possibly hurting the baby because it doesn't stop crying, and I'm not afraid to admit that I've thought about that, because you don't know how to handle the situation.
Yeah.
But the best thing to do is always to think positive, and not let those demons get to you and cause you to do something that'll cause something
harm
to happen
to your child.
to the baby.
Yeah. No, I think there was one situation where Aiden was a little older. I think he was like close to maybe a year. And he was nonstop crying. I was by myself. I think she was at work, or she was doing something, and I was by myself. He would not stop crying. I took him out for a walk. I put him on the carrier, and it was rough. He wouldn't stop crying. And I got so frustrated where like I kind of picked him up and like, what? Why are you crying? Like why are you like stop crying? But it kind of goes at the same thing. It was like like at that moment I could have snapped and I would like shake him so hard. I mean, I didn't get to that because I wasn't that frustrated, but to a certain extent, people with that can happen. And not being diagnosed or like seeking medical attention can happen.
Well, I think from at least from the experience in the Latino household, sometimes the parents, I would say mostly the men, are under alcohol abuse. They might be drunk, so it's not the best time for them to be handling a baby. Mm-hmm. I think that when someone does harm the baby, it could be when they're under the influence of drugs and alcohol, more common. Because when you're sober, you're gonna think things through before you act. You don't want to do anything that can cause you to also end up in prison, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna think about those things, and you don't want to hurt your own blood or cause pain to your loved one.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I think it's a different story when you kind of hear like stories of like ongoing abuse, like that's just people being abusive, like versus like just feeling frustrated and I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I feel like the first time that I got really frustrated, I did also have a situation similar to yours where I was like, why are you crying? I did not shake her or anything, but I was just like, what do I do? He was at work. I think that one time I did end up calling him because I did not know what to do, and I was by myself. So he did end up coming home that day, and he didn't seem so happy about that because I interrupted him, obviously. But, he did help me calm her down, and I had kind of like a little break for myself. And I feel like that's what you need sometimes, just like a break, because especially if you're a first-time mom, I feel like you don't know what to expect. I think, you understand me.
Yeah,
you're like,
I get it, yeah.
You're like, I think that it's just taking over all of my time and I have no sleep. So, it was great that he would always take her for a little moment, and I had just, my time. I think it's important.
It's like they tell you, oh, catch up on your sleep when the baby's sleeping.
But you can't.
You can't. Like, they kind of prepare you, but they don't really tell you, like, the severity of it, like, how bad it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, if you, your child just won't stop crying. It's just like there's just things you're just not prepared for.
Yeah.
And I want to say in the heat of the moment, that's why when I step in, I try to look at it from a different angle, right? Because I know she's under pressure, and maybe she's not thinking about what she can do. So I try to think, hey, what can we do, right? Can we take her outside? Can we give her something? Is she teething? So I think because she's tired and she's lost a lot of sleep and she's frustrated, that she doesn't really think of a solution, and that's when I try to step in and help her.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a little help goes a long way, and I think single moms kind of have it like a little harder sometimes, especially without the support system, and just having a partner with you to help you out, even when it's like a minimal thing, like hey. I'll take them and you take a 5-minute nap, 10-minute nap. It makes a difference.
Go take a shower here.
Yeah. So even same thing with me. Like, there were situations where even when the kids were a little older, I would just kind of like, I'll do laundry, I'll do this. And it was just specifically to give her a break, it doesn't always work. Sometimes I don't want to do it, but, I try, there's times like where if she's having a bad day, like, just take a nap, I'll wake you up in 30 minutes when the food is ready. And usually that's the little things I try to do, I
think now it's easier for me to ask you for help, but at first I had a really hard time. Like I just felt like I needed to do everything.
Yeah.
I complained about him not helping, but then I think I also played a part in that. Like I wanted to do everything. I'm like a control freak. Like I didn't give him anything to do, and that's why we struggled a lot with the first two.
Well, I think we kind of went through something similar. I know in the Mexican culture, there's a lot of machismo, and the man usually doesn't help with the baby at all. But going back to how I wanted to do things different, I think there's nothing wrong with helping, right? I cook, I clean if I need to. If I'm not at work, right? I try to help, even if I have to stay up late. And do something, if that's what it takes. If I have to lose a little bit of sleep, then that's what I'm gonna do. If I have to give up television or watching a novela or something, a sports game, then
La Rosa de Guadalupe.
Yeah, you can always record it and watch it later, right? When everyone's asleep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but that's cheating.
But yeah, I that's another subject too that that falls into women,
like gender roles.
Yeah, right? Like gender roles. Like women are the ones supposed to cook and take care of kids. I go to work and I watch TV. Right. I think my parents were kind of like that. My dad was just like, I'm here to work. Let me put my foot up and watch TV. My mom does the cooking. But luckily,
I remember his mom saying that they had to eat first.
Oh yeah, she did.
Like that you serve them like they have to eat first. I remember when I sorry to interrupt you, but this sticks with me. When I first moved in with them, because I just left my house and I went with him after 8 months of dating, right? Mm-hmm. So when I first moved in with them, I was taking care of his laundry. I was doing his tall white tees, his dresses or whatever. I was washing them, and I put Clorox in the white clothes, right? And his mom was like, oh, no, I never do that. I wash them, multiple times to, so that they're clean. And I'm sitting there like, well, guess what? I'm washing his clothes now. And I do it how I do it, It's just like I didn't believe in, I don't know, the things that she kind of, her mentality. And it's like the boys eat first. No, I'm sorry.
And I think... I don't think she thinks the same to a certain extent, but I think it has a lot to do with the way I started doing my things at home. I started doing a lot of the cooking sometimes. Most of the times I try to do the cooking, so
he's better at it. So yeah.
So
they're always gonna tell us that to encourage us.
I didn't think about it like that. No, but
they get a pass today. We don't have to cook.
But actually, I would do a lot of the cooking, and my mom would see me, me cooking, and I think she would see how involved I was with helping her out. It's not just 50 here, 50 there. We would try to take turns. Sometimes I would go wash, sometimes she would go wash, and I think she got to see how it can work, and it's not necessarily just her, you know. And I think in a sense that helped her kind of see it differently. But yeah, my parents definitely had that mentality, you know. And I don't know, I just never felt right with just her doing everything. There was
I think there was even times when my mom gave me compliments on that, like, because, you know, I would be at work and then he'd be at home with the kids and he's about to leave to work, so he's gonna leave the kids with her. So she was like, oh, you know, Mario woke up really early, he had pancakes for them, he cut up the fruit for them, like he had the whole breakfast for them, and then he went to work. I was like, well, that's their dad. I mean, what else is he supposed to do? Let them starve?
Yeah.
You know, so,
but
you know, it's just natural.
Yeah, but you definitely still see that even with some new generation, where they still have that, like, kind of like just lingers off, you know. Even though it's a new generation, like, you know, it's a new set of like kids breeding. Some of them still have that same mentality because it kind of just gets stuck, and it's hard sometimes to kind of fall off. And you know, you always get that kind of going back a little bit back, but sometimes you see, like, you know, back in the days, you know, you say, oh, relationship used to last a lot longer. Like, well, yeah, but were they happy?
People were putting up with a lot
They were
more.
putting up,
Exactly.
yeah, they were toxic relationships.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, they were together for like until they died, but you never know what the woman was thinking around that time. Like, you know, I'm stuck here, I can't move anywhere, you know. And it kind of, it's good and bad because, you know, now as a woman, you have more rights. Like, if I don't want to be with this guy, I don't have to. And in a sense, you know, it makes it easier also to kind of like stop a relationship and just, instead of working hard for it and trying to, like, you know, make that relationship stronger, you just go on to the next one, you know. And in a sense, I've always felt like,
damn, Mario.
no, well, I mean, but it's just like, you know, you do see it kind of goes good and bad.
It is happening more. I mean, it shows with the numbers for divorce rate. I mean,
yeah.
People are divorcing over any little thing, though. So
Yeah.
that's something that I don't really agree with. I think if you're us, you know, we're not married through the church or through the state, but we since we got together in a relationship, I consider her my wife, and I treat her the same way as if it was my wife. Nothing's gonna change if I put a ring on her. We're still gonna try to be the same way, right? But it seems like whenever that ring goes on, more problems come. Nowadays. Yeah. But we do eventually want to have a ceremony. But we're not gonna do it the
traditional way.
Yeah, I know. We were also married through the state, or was it the
county?
The county, you know,
it's courthouse.
Yeah, so we're not married through church yet. Maybe later on.
I
in
don't
the
know
future.
if we will be.
Maybe later on.
You have to confess your sins, Mario.
Yeah, bro. No, not just that. I don't even have my was that first communion? Or was the next one? Confirmation. Confirmation. I don't have my
I don't
confirmation.
have mine either.
Damn, bro.
There's a way to get around that if you pay a few bucks.
Yeah, I thought about that. Like, maybe I should try it. But no, yeah, it's just like, it's just times change and you kind of have to adapt to it. You know, like, for example, like kind of what I was saying, like, you know, back in the days, yeah, relationship used to be, you know, a lot longer. Well, yeah, but what happened then? And I think we can take that, like, let's make this into a long-lasting relationship, but let's change it up. Let's kind of, like, you know, make it work, not just forcefully be in a relationship. And I think that's one of the things that I want to do with currently, like, what we're doing is, like, we have problems and let's talk about it, you know. And it's been rough sometimes where, you know, we're not connecting, you know, but the best thing to do is kind of like just calm down and always try to, like, meet in the middle.
And I think that's where you learn from experience rather than imitate it, right? You don't want to imitate your parents' behavior, right? You might see things and say, hey, I don't want to be this way, right? My dad was an alcoholic, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to drink. So when I was doing events at clubs, when I was at parties, I wasn't drinking. You know, I was hosting events, I was recording, I was doing photography, and I turned down drinks because I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that promoter either. That slept with all the girls. Yeah. Right. That's what they're known for.
Yeah. No, actually, my childhood was similar to yours, and my dad was also an alcoholic, and you know, with me, I saw that, like, the nasty parts of alcoholism. You know, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go through that. You know, I saw the steps where how bad he got, and then that recovery process where it was a lot harder. I saw all that. So I was like, you know, when I started growing up, I took, like, I don't want to go through that ever. You know, I don't want to fall into the same category. And it took me, like, a long time, you know, to like drink beer. when we were together, like I rarely ever like, because in a sense I was afraid, like, you know, maybe if I drink one, I'm gonna start liking it, you know, and there was a fear, like, you know, like I don't want to go to that, so I'm gonna avoid it. And now, you know, from time to time I have a beer, but it's more of a choice as opposed to like, you know, a necessity. And you know, same thing, like, you know, it's just something that I wasn't trying to like land on. I wasn't trying to like replicate what my dad went through. But yeah, I even bought beers, like, oh, maybe Cervando's gonna want a beer, so let me buy some beers.
Wow. He's trying to get me drunk.
But yeah, like, hey, like, liquor courage, bro.
No, and it doesn't always have to be something like alcohol, right? It could be certain traits, again, characteristics, like we're talking about the machismo. That, you know, that's not something that I think women like. And it'll get upsetting eventually. I mean, he just comes home from work and he's watching TV all day, and then he goes to sleep. Right. Yeah. And for you guys, it's different because both of you work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, since she's at home, she handles most of the chores. If I'm there, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to leave my job, because I was spending a lot of time at work. I was working 6 days, 12 hours a day, and I felt that wasn't what I wanted to be doing. You know, I needed to be there for my family, and I made the decision to never go back.
Yeah, I think you know, you have to kind of like look into like what if is it worth it? You know, spending so much time, and then like, you know, you have to make a decision. Like I went through that similar situation with when I was working at Denny's. I was store manager and I was spending too much time, you know, and I just had like, you know what, I was getting good benefits.
I was working
getting
in Oakland, so the commute back, oh my God.
So it's like, you know, like, yeah, I'm getting paid good, but am I really? Because I was spending like 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours a day sometimes. And I was like, you know what? Aiden was still like, you know, what was he, like 1 year old?
It was when Adi was born, no?
It was before. He was a couple months, you know, almost close to a year. And he hadn't seen me for like almost a week.
It was like 2.
Yeah, so he hadn't seen me, like, because I would go to work early in the morning and I would come back when he was already sleeping. So it was that bad. So I didn't see him for like days. And one day it was finally my day off, and then he seen me and he was like, he almost cried. And then he made me cry. So that day I was like,
every time he talks about it, he gets a little
I kind of choked up right now. So I had to go scoot through it. But, you know, so I cried that day and I was like, you know, I can't do that. You know, I just have to move on. I want to target.
What did he say to you?
I don't want to say it because I was so crying. No, he's like, you know, he looked at me and like he woke up and he wasn't expecting me. So he looked up at me like, he's like, oh, Daddy, you're here. And started crying, you know, because I felt it, like he was happy. So, you know, and I was like, you know what, I can do it. Like, you know, I put my 2-week notice shortly after that, and, you know, I went to Target. And I was a team leader and I was getting paid less, but I was willing to do that because, you know, family. You know, and it's just like, you know, and I told her, like, I'm not going to do that ever again. Like, I just can't do it. It's just too much. But yeah, sacrifices, man. Sometimes you have to do it. You know, what's for best for you.
Right now, for us, we both work, but we have a little secret for, you know, keeping the house clean and stuff. His mom's here with us.
Oh yeah, my mom's.
So she like, I mean, not that we've ever been like, you need to clean the house or whatever, but she just like, right now before you guys got here, she's like, oh, somebody's coming. Let me borrow.
Yeah.
Well, she can hang out at our house too. And get a break from you guys.
For real. But yeah, so yeah, going back, you know, fast forward to you guys. Is there anything that is there anything in between, anything in general that has kind of like made, like kind of shook your relationship? You know, anything that kind of had put you guys, you know, at a point where like, you know, like, okay, is this it? Or
if she wants to talk about it here, it was insecurity. It was insecurity issues, and if she wants to tell you the reason why she was insecure, she can go ahead.
Well, yeah, I think I had a lot of, like he said, insecurity problems. I always, you know, thought the worst when he was out because he was doing a lot of events all the time. There's a bunch of girls, obviously. And I mean, it was just the beginning when we first started dating, you know. But I feel like I had a lot of trust issues. He would always tell me, you know, you have nothing to worry about, but that wasn't enough for me. And, you know, sometimes I had people telling me like, oh, I saw him over here and he was with some girls and he was doing this. So that would get me upset and I would come off at him, you know, and telling him a bunch of stuff. And again, he would tell me it wasn't me, it didn't happen that way, or, you know, stuff to make me feel better. But for some reason, I just thought he was like not telling me the truth. And I actually, like, when I think it was 9 or 10, I actually experienced sexual assault. I was raped by my step uncle, and I think that I wasn't aware of how much damage it did to me. I think that he tried to help me out a bunch of times, you know, telling me like, hey, I think you should speak to someone about it. I think you should tell your mom, because no one knew, you know, probably like 1 or 2 friends. And I had told him when I started dating him, but he tried to help me out all the time, and I always said, no, I'm not going to talk to anyone. And I never thought that that was a problem, you know, but, you know, recently, I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, I told my mom, and I felt so much better. Like, I had a huge relief off my chest. Our relationship completely changed. All of a sudden, I felt comfortable, you know, and I had like no worries of if he were to look at another girl or anything. Like, I knew what I had and that it was mine and that I was worth it, you know?
Yeah, I think that's important, you know, just kind of like seeing it out there, like, you know, because you build it up in your chest and you're just like, okay, this happened. And it's just like immediately, you almost, you know.
And from listening to you guys' podcast, I know Graciela dealt with something similar, right?
Yeah, actually, it was someone in the home. I don't want to like really share who, but it was someone in the home, and I remember sharing it with my mom, and I shared it like, you know, it was happening. Like, I kind of didn't know like that was what was happening to me, right. And then when I finally did share it with my mom, I wasn't supported, so it just kind of created like some turmoil in our relationship. So we've always struggled.
Yeah. So, you know, going into our relationship, you know, a lot of her insecurities as well, you know, kind of played with the same thing. You know, it was like, you know, well, I experienced this, so, you know, well, what are the odds that, you know, you're not the same way, you know, and it just played with her head, you know, where it's same thing. A lot of situations she would like get mad at me because, one of the funny situations to me is like when I'm driving, I need to take a right turn, and I turn right, and like there's a girl right there, you know, she get pissed.
Yeah, that was like at the beginning of our relationship. Yes, it was like any little thing. It's just like you're sick.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, because I was like I gotta turn right. Like what do you want me to do? I have to turn right, and it was like any little thing. Like there couldn't be a girl anywhere in sight because I was already looking, you know, and. It was funny but frustrating because it was like, you know, I wasn't looking. And it's funny because, like, kind of what you were saying, like, you would tell him, like, oh, you know, he would try to like, tell you, oh, it wasn't like that. And you're like, no, I know what I've heard, or I know, you know. So it was the same situation with you. It was like, you know, it's like, no, I literally just saw you looking at her. You were looking forward, and then you turned around, like, no, you know, and it's frustrating because like you're trying to explain to her, but like no, she's stuck. Like no, I know what you did, and I saw it.
You know what I would say? I would say if it was an old lady, and if it's someone you don't find attractive, you wouldn't say anything.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's
if
like
it was old ladies sitting at the corner.
I probably would have still thought he was.
No, but
if
that's
he
how
likes
insecure I was.
If he likes older women, right?
What you call them, gilfs?
A gilf.
Yeah, but I would tell her that I would use that same argument, like, well, I do the same thing when I have to turn and there's a guy, you never say anything. It's like, no, but that's different. Like, well, it was just like there was always a reason and you know, a defense is like, you know.
The other thing that I say that always attracts the eye is a butt crack. It's like it could be a plumber, right? It could be a guy. It doesn't have to be a woman, but your eyes always just capture that. Like,
I didn't mean to say that.
So we kind of went through a similar thing, you know, and with us, what helped is just like I guess time, because
I think after becoming a mom, for me, it was like I don't have time to, you know, worry about that stuff. Like, okay, we're gonna make this happen. We're together. Like, okay, I need to put all those insecurities, put all my fears to the side, and just kind of work on myself. Like, help myself be a better person, help myself be a better wife to him, help myself, be the mom that I want to be to my kids.
Right.
And I think that, that's really important that we support each other. So when I told her, hey, you need to talk to your family about it, it was like, hey, if that doesn't happen, we're gonna break up. So I didn't mean to put her up against the wall that way, but we had times where we argued, all night, and I had to go to work with no sleep, and I didn't want to continue to go through the same thing, because I was like, hey, we're arguing and nothing comes from it. But I did see the change in her. I know she told me that when that happened to her, that she wanted to be ugly, so she gained weight. She covered up. She didn't want to be seen by men. And when I met her, she was opening up a little bit more. So she was wearing dresses. She was kind of overcoming that. But even then, to me, I always believe that it's not all about looks. It is important. Physical is important. But we try to encourage each other to stay healthy and eat better and go to the gym. There's nothing wrong with pushing each other. I don't ever call her fat, because that's not I don't see her that way. She might call herself that way.
I was gonna say
even
that
though she's
they don't
thinner.
have to. We probably say it to ourselves.
Right? But we tried things like keto diets together. Low carb diets. We're trying to do something different now with fruit detox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So she that's how she helps me, right? I'm still, I might not have a job, but I'm still working, and while I'm doing that, and she has spare time, she's looking for organic foods. She's looking for recipes for us to try. We started fasting. We started drinking what's it called? I can't even remember the name.
The bee pollen?
The bee pollen, royal jelly.
Sea moss.
The sea moss.
Sea moss.
I kind of blanked out, but yeah, the sea moss. She makes all these things, right? She's made almond milk before. She's made cashew milk. So we try to do things from scratch. It's a lot of work. Yeah. So it's helpful if we can buy it somewhere, but to have all natural ingredients, we try to make it ourselves.
Yeah, that's what's up. And it plays a role, like also like that's kind of bonding, because you guys are doing things together, and you kind of.
I don't think it's fair if she's on keto and I'm over here eating pizza.
Yeah.
It's not really supportive. So.
Yeah.
And she's always been more of the gym type. I always like running better, but I am trying to go to the gym more, and we'll end up going together again.
You gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say that's kind of similar to kind of like what we got going on right now. It's not like necessarily a health choice that we decided to do, but like with my pregnancies, because I'm expecting our third child, I get gestational diabetes, and like I have to watch what I eat. So I'm kind of more like on a keto diet right now.
Low carb.
And low carb.
Low sugar.
And low sugar. So he's kind of like, okay, if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it too. We're gonna do this together. I mean, he cheats and stuff. Like he will eat like regular stuff while I'm over here suffering. I'm just kidding. But for the most part, like we eat the same things.
Yeah, and right before, because it did get to a point where I was like getting my heaviest since high school, and I started intermittent fasting, and I lost about 20 pounds. But when we found out that she was, expecting that we were gonna have another baby, I had to change my diet for the same reason, because I wasn't eating till like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and then around the time she was like, doing this on her own. So I kind of felt bad, like, well, I'm doing my thing, she's doing her own thing. I kind of wanted to do it with her, along with her. So it'll be easier. So I had to change my dieting when it came to that. And we're trying.
So you started eating more times with her, so she wouldn't eat alone.
Yeah, but less portioning, I guess. And it's rough sometimes. Sometimes I want to go out for a run, but I can't. I'm busy here and there. But I mean, the dieting part, that's easy for me. I can do that with you. Just recently, we started, cause I wasn't eating breakfast for forever. And then one day, okay, I'll do it with you. Let's, whatever you have and I'll have, and it's worked so far. I mean,
and when it comes to dieting, there's a lot of alternatives we don't really think about. Like for dairy, right? You could have almond milk, almond cheese, cashew milk, coconut
There's
milk.
almond cheese?
Those almond cheese,
Oh, I didn't know that.
For sugar, you have monk fruit, stevia. What else do we use? I ordered a date sugar but we haven't tried it yet.
What is it?
Date sugar?
So the date fruit, it's just like blended to be like sugar. But when it comes to carbs, though, we try to. It's hard because we love bread, we love tortillas. But we found alternatives to that too. So there's jicama tortillas.
Yeah, we just tried that recently.
The cauliflower
Wasn't that big of a
tortillas.
fan.
She didn't like them either.
Okay.
I thought it was good.
I thought they were good too.
Well, maybe also because when we had it, it was when I was still like having a lot of like symptoms, like a lot of morning sickness. So.
Yeah, but how Mario mentioned, I mean, recently, we did go through another pregnancy, and I felt that I started eating more again because she was eating more times because she had to. So I found myself also eating with her. I was used to eating twice a day, and so I went back to eating 3 times.
No, I know, and it's hard,
Do you guys want to share about your pregnancy?
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to kind of ask in between, like if you're comfortable with it. So I know before you guys went on your vacation, your trip to Mexico, we're going to sit down and talk, on the podcast. And
that was one of the things we hadn't mentioned to you guys that we wanted to talk about in the podcast was that we were expecting another baby.
Yeah, and then you guys kind of take it forward from that.
Well, we wanted to go for a trip to Mexico for a month. We hadn't decided if we were going to go to Mexico or Hawaii. We just our anniversary was coming up, and I wanted to take her somewhere. We hadn't been to Mexico in 3 years, and so at least specifically to Sinaloa, and she's from Nayarit, so I wanted to go over there and see our families, and she was a few weeks pregnant when we went. We didn't think much of it. We did drive all the way to Tijuana and then fly from there, so we did put a lot of stress on our body when as far as sitting down in the car. We flew to Cancun, and it was a 4-hour flight. We drove to Tijuana, which was 8-9 hour drive. And the reason was because we didn't have our baby didn't have her passport, so we couldn't just travel from San Francisco. And so I didn't think much of it because in the prior pregnancy, we kind of did the same thing. I don't remember how far along she was before, but we've always liked to travel. We always like to be on the road. We go to Tahoe, we go to Tijuana, we go to LA, we wanted to be there for a month, and she started feeling bad.
Well, I didn't expect that I was having a miscarriage because what I was experiencing was just cramps, in my back and in my stomach. But since I had that with my previous baby, I thought that, maybe it's normal. It's just cramps. My uterus is expanding. That's what it says, when you Google it. So, I tried to just keep myself calm and tell myself that everything was fine. I think that it was 3 days that I had cramps like that, but they were getting stronger and stronger. And I was just like, okay, this feels kind of weird. And then I did have a little bit of bleeding, spotting, and then it just increased and increased. So that's when I told my grandma. We were at my grandma's house during that time in Mexico. So she was like, you should go to a doctor here to get checked. And, they took me. She took me in right away. It was at night, so as an emergency. And she said, oh, well, it looks like you're having, she said it in Spanish, but how would it be in English? Like,
well, she said
amenaza de
aborto, yeah.
It's like,
which sounds like
a
abortion,
high
right?
risk, you're in risk for a miscarriage, basically. So she just said, oh, but just, rest, stay in bed, don't do much, don't walk a lot. And I was like, okay. He tried to comfort me, telling me everything's going to be okay, But in my heart, I knew that it was not okay. Like, I felt that something was wrong, that I was just not gonna be able to continue with the pregnancy because my baby had no heartbeat anymore. Like I felt it, even if the doctor, she didn't tell me, hey, there's no heartbeat. She heard it, but she didn't tell me. I think that maybe she didn't want to worry me, or I don't know, but I had her feeling already. So the next day she wanted me to go get an ultrasound and blood work, but we decided to head back home, so we got a flight from Puerto Vallarta, but unfortunately we did not make it in time because as soon as we got there is when I started having my miscarriage. So, I started bleeding a little bit, and then he was like, maybe, it's something else. Just try to stay positive. But I was like, no, this is it. My baby's gone, I that's it. And he was like, just trying to comfort me, but I feel like it was really hard because I didn't have I feel like as a woman you're always going to want your mom or your family close by to help you when you're going through a situation like that. So I feel like it was really, really hard for me. He did help me a lot, but it was just so traumatic, and sorry. To see the own, they call it tissue, which I don't know why they call it tissue, but it's your baby. To see it coming out, I'm just like, why?
I'm so sorry to hear that.
You try to do everything you can, to stop it, but you just can't. And then I feel like you have to understand that it was not meant to be, and they tell you, only God knows why. You just want to know a reason, though. You're just left with that and with just emptiness. But I feel like that my baby helps me a lot to be strong. I haven't cried, till today, but I have been really, really strong. I think I've been holding up good. He's been a good help to me, and I just think of it as in, God took my baby for a little while, but he'll give it back to me someday. I'll get my rainbow baby.
That's a positive way of looking at things, and it's rough sometimes like that. I'm sorry you had to go through that, both of you guys. But I always try to be as optimistic as possible, and that's probably the best way you can see it. The way you're looking at it.
Yeah. One thing she didn't mention was that she passed out also. So I think it was what was it, 2 a.m. or 4 or 5 throughout. She couldn't sleep anymore. Yeah. But I was helping her to go to the bathroom, and the one time that I didn't, I was still awake. And she told me she was going to pass out, and I didn't make it to her. When I got there, she was already on the floor. And so she ended up hurting her face a little bit. And luckily, she didn't hit the sink or hit herself too hard. She didn't remember that she had passed out, and she didn't know why she was on the floor. So I know that's something that she remembers now. It was traumatic, like she mentioned. It was tough. I didn't know what she was feeling. I just wanted to get her to the doctor.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to go through that. But luckily, I see the support system. And I think it's just gonna make you guys stronger. A lot of things that we went through, hard things, made us stronger. And I just wish nothing but the best for you guys. Down the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. I know you guys got us a gift for our baby, for the baby shower. So I appreciate you guys. I know I wasn't always there for you guys when you guys were having parties or reunions. Yeah, I even missed Kalicha's wedding, so I told them I was gonna get him a bottle from Mexico to make up.
Did you?
But no, because we had to leave. So.
Yeah. No, I mean
he should understand.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I know it's kind of with me and my experience with our kids. I know it could be tough. And I mean I don't want to say I'm an expert, but I have my fair experience. So when I found out you guys were having a baby, I'm like, well, let me at least put the plate out there. Hey, you guys need help.
I think out of all of our friends and stuff, or most of our friends, we were one of the first to have kids. I don't know anybody else that has older kids like that.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. So I also want to, because I know it can be hard. It can be stressful. So I kind of want to just be hey, if you guys need anything, just let us know. I mean, not an expert, but I have my experience. So
you guys have more experience on us for sure.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
A little bit. You never know. Like you get things like that. Like it's unexpected. But yeah.
I mean, right now we're experiencing something different
Oh yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So we went in for an ultrasound on the 14th, and they discovered that our baby has clubfoot. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. So it's a birth defect where our baby's feet are like inwards. Like this is like the bottom of your foot. So our baby's feet like are, I guess, kind of twisted inwards. So it's a correctable defect, but it's gonna be a long process. We actually just spoke to the specialist today. We had a video call earlier, and I guess he left the meeting very happy. Like he really liked her. He thought a lot of the things that she said was very helpful. You know, I did too, but I think for me, it's just I'm still a little bit hopeful that what they saw was not really, there's a 20% chance that it's not really it. I'm still slightly hopeful, but, the chances are that we're going to have to deal with that. So, that's just something different.
Yeah. And kind of going back to you guys' pregnancy, I can only imagine because we haven't been through that, but, I can see it's painful.
It's also more common than people think. It's what's the stat on that?
1 in 4.
1 in 4. Yeah. 1 in 4. And it happened to multiple people on the same day. That she knows a few people that it happened to as well.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's crazy.
No, we don't know if it had to do with the moon. There's in the Mexican culture. There's there's theories about
eclipse.
The eclipses and the moons and putting a red ribbon around and. We've done that in the past, but this time we didn't really think about that, and it happened around the same time.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
We really never know the reason why it happened. You could try to think of what it could have been, but you will never know.
You could try to blame it on something.
Yeah. You shouldn't. Yeah. But I tried to think I actually had a feeling way before we left to Mexico, and I didn't mention it to him until it happened. I was like, I felt like something was different with this pregnancy. For some reason I just didn't feel attached. I didn't feel like I did feel love, of course, because I was happy, but if I rubbed my belly or talked to my baby, I just felt like empty. I felt nothing. So whenever he asked me, he's like, what do you think it's gonna be, a boy or a girl? And with my previous one, I was like, I think it's gonna be a girl. I know it. With this one, I was like, I don't know. It was. I feel like it was like a motherly instinct in a way. And I told him, and he was like, wow,
Yeah. And it's funny because I don't know if it's like supernatural or it's just a sense thing, but motherly instincts, can be like a trip sometimes. I know like a lot of situations, or you read about stuff like like a mother was feeling a certain way and something tragic happened. Stuff like that is kind of like whoa. And you can't really explain that, but it's I just find that interesting, to a sense. So kind of going a little forward, one of the things that what you guys are describing is like you had that support system from him, right? Is there anything that you felt yourself as me as a person, was there anything mental, was there anything that was kind of like blocking you from everybody else, or was it just more like him being so supportive and people around you that it made it easy for you kind of kind of grasp onto reality a little bit?
Well, he has been a good help always throughout this time, especially. But I feel like sometimes I just wanted to be alone. I did have my moments. Mostly the first 2 weeks, I would say, him or his mom would be with the baby because I didn't even have, the energy. I did not want to do anything. I just wanted to be in bed. At one point, I did ask him. I was like, "Do you think that I'm getting depressed because I didn't even want to eat. I didn't even want to do anything, and I just cried. But I feel like after that, I did feel a lot better after getting, messages of encouragement from other people. Maybe it was people who I hadn't talked to in so long, but it still feels really good, Yeah. My mom, she experienced something similar too, so she knew just what to say. Although people's words aren't always gonna, make you feel a lot better, but it helps. Yeah, and I mean, he's always been there.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that maybe, I mean, there's certain people that didn't even want to bring up the topic, and I don't think that's always correct. I mean, I know that maybe they don't want her to remember and be sad, but you should at least ask, hey, how are you? I know you went through this. And for people to just avoid, like if nothing happened, I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
And that happens, again, so often when it comes to miscarriage. From what she told me, it's supposed to be taken the same as if you gave birth. So you should be in quarantine. You shouldn't be lifting. You should be taking care of yourself. And that's something that I didn't know about. So when her mom told her that she needed to take care of herself, I'm like, yeah, we have to help you.
Yeah, no, definitely. So what is the plan for you guys now? Like, because I'm not too familiar with, like, abortion. Are you guys planning on having miscarriage? Are you guys planning on having another baby after this?
She had said at first that she wanted 4. So what do you say now?
We'll go with that still. Yeah, 4. I did kind of, since we were traveling with she's 1.5, but it was still tough. I was like, man, I don't want no more kids.
She was saying, I'll have 1 or 2. That's it. It was hard on the plane. We didn't get to. We went to Cancun. We didn't get to go to some of the adult parks like the zip lining and everything else. But I said, hey, well, next time we'll just take a babysitter with us. We'll take one of our moms to Cancun.
I do think we want to wait a little more, though. Just kind of take our time and first of all heal. For me, try to eat the best we can so that we try to hopefully avoid another miscarriage.
Well, it's funny because the first time she got pregnant, she was going to the gym. She was getting in shape. She had just started going back, and this time around it happened during the same time. So she was going to the gym. We were eating better, and then she got pregnant. So
when I lose weight,
now we want to make sure we're healthier. Because I do believe that it has to do with your health. It has to do with everything around you, really. I mean, we try to eat organic. We try to stay away from chemicals. We only wash our clothes and shower with with certain soaps. What is it?
Castile soap.
Castile soap. We've made our own deodorant. We made our own soaps, shampoos. So we try to avoid things that people don't know are bad for you, right? Radiation is also bad for you, on your phone or Wi-Fi or any other thing like that. So people, a lot of people don't look into maybe that being the cause of you not being able to give birth, right? Yeah. And also if you're smoking or if you're drinking, that's something that you have to get away from for a while before you can give birth.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think same thing, like different age in life, and there's a lot of things like you never hear like people are growing certain vegetables and inserting hormones or inserting certain chemicals to make it big or to make it like more profitable and things that you're consuming, and it's crazy like that. But
yeah, she tells me a lot of interesting things, and I'm like, wow. Because like we talked about periods before, and she's read information where it says that you're not even supposed to cramp when you're not even supposed to even bleed as much. So if your body is healthy, if you're eating right, you don't go through that pain. And so those things are interesting. And I'm like, hey, if we can learn how to be in that healthy lifestyle, and you don't have to hurt every month during your period, that's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. I think with society is they make it very accessible for you to take the faster route. Like deodorant. Oh, it's $1. Get that deodorant. It's the cheapest one, so let's put it on. Vegetables seems to be like the most expensive, the organic ones. Well, I wonder why. It's hard sometimes, and you don't really think about it because the price is right. So you just go for it. And I think we've gotten talking like, okay, wait, maybe I have to change things a little better now. Like even with deodorant, like maybe I have to get your recipe for deodorant. But with me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with a specific deodorant because I don't want this chemical in here and this chemical in here. So I go for a specific one each and every time. Because
I have to because I get rashes if I start breaking out.
Yeah.
Well, the recipe we had made, we used beeswax, and then we did cucumber and lime, I believe. But you have to measure it, and it's funny because the first time she made it, I told her you have to measure it. If not, it's gonna be too hard, right? Yeah. You have to follow the recipe, and we found the recipe on YouTube, and she didn't listen to me, and I had to fix it. but now I just simply use lime. I make my lemonade every morning with honey and bee pollen, and then I just use the lime, and it works. It works for me. She says sometimes it doesn't, but that's because I forget to put it on.
Did you put deodorant?
Well, did I have my lemonade today? That's the answer. Did you make my lemonade? No. But you know, one of the things that we want to do going forward, you know, I told her the reason why we wanted to come on the podcast. I wanted to encourage her to speak more. She has a lot of knowledge. I have knowledge when it comes to the workplace. In my experience, you know, she has a lot of health tips that can help mothers, and I want her to be more open and talking about it on Instagram, and then eventually to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah,
awesome.
So we're both gonna be YouTubers.
Nice. Making that YouTube money, bro.
That way she won't get mad at me for going to events for my YouTube channel. All right, I'm gonna be like, what you were doing, your YouTube channel, your vlog.
But yeah, so I mean, give me a quick thing that people might not know. A little quick fact.
Don't look at me.
Women health. There you go.
Huh?
Women health wise.
Or in general.
Go ahead. You have the tips.
I'm under pressure right now. I can't think.
That happens.
Well, health wise, again, keeping yourself away from radiation, from chemicals. Whenever someone has told me that they can't get pregnant, like one of my friends recently in Tijuana, you know, it was because he was smoking cigarettes, and I told him, hey, once you cut that off, I'm sure you'll be able to have it. And they were struggling for a while, and I said, well, sometimes you got to look at the things that you're doing. Don't blame God, don't blame other people, just look at yourself, right? And that's really a health tip, right? Don't blame others. Don't say, hey, I'm fat because of this person, right? My friends eat this way. My mom gives me tortillas. Yeah. Just don't eat them. You got to be strong. You have to resist temptation. We love pizza. We love all the food that's bad for us. We love In-N-Out, but we can't have it all the time. Yeah. And when we were on keto, you know, we just look for better options. You know, she's made almond flour pizza. If we go to In-N-Out, we'll just have it without the bread. Yeah. Right. Protein stuff. Yeah. It might not be as good, but what we would do sometimes also is we would take our keto bread with us. So. and we would just top it off.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. No, but we actually, I enjoy the protein style for some reason. Too. I feel like it's better in a sense. It depends, bro.
I can have more fries.
Yeah.
The animal
you can have more fries. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, definitely health is important.
I feel like I also wanted to mention birth control. I feel like that's one of the things that just, you know, is really important. I know a lot of the females are on birth control because obviously, you know, they don't want to get pregnant. So I think that a lot of the chemicals that it has, girls don't realize that they're actually causing more damage to your body. I personally don't use it because I did my own research, and I was also on birth control for probably like 2 or 3 years, and it just gave me a lot of negative side effects. And I feel like we don't really pay attention to that. We're just like, oh, it's just a side effect, it's normal. But why are we feeling that way? You know, if it's supposed to help us, it's not supposed to make us feel bad. Same with, you know, medicine. If it's supposed to, you know, make us feel better, why is it getting something else worse in my body? You know, like it doesn't fix their problem. It's just temporary. So just things like that.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I was mentioning this. Well, we talked about this before. Like, you know, you see those commercials like, you know, a certain brand. Oh, they can help you with this. Oh, but the side effects are like this, like.
And they say it really fast.
Yeah, like they try to go hella fast through it. Like, well, what's the point?
We're not liable either.
Exactly. It's like, right. Well, we told you. You know, it's just it's weird.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, we might not have science to back us up, but you know, in school they tell us that the pull-out method doesn't work, and I do think that it does. I don't think that you can get pregnant with pre-cum. You know, in the past they didn't have condoms. So how did they do it? They didn't have birth control, and I don't think they were popping a baby, you know, every so often. They knew their bodies, right, and they knew, hey, this doesn't cause a pregnancy.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Honestly, I can see it. Kind of like,
I mean, there was some people who was like having like 20, 30 kids.
My grandma had like 20.
That's because they wanted to.
They were bored.
They were bored.
They didn't have the calendar, bro.
They didn't have the calendar.
No, and that's what I was kind of going with. Like, I think kind of what you mentioned, like kind of knowing when your cycle is the least. How did you mention it? How did you say it?
What's the menstrual cycle?
Menstrual cycle. Right? There you go.
Yeah,
when it's
she had it
when
on
you're
the
ovulating.
Yeah.
It's
doesn't know.
no,
He doesn't know much about
that
Yeah.
either. I just saw it said last chance, but I said there's a chance. It doesn't say no chance at all. Cervando, don't worry about it. It said low chance, low risk.
so you don't sue, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you guys have any questions, you know, before we close it off? Because honestly, like, you know, being first-time parents and then going through a miscarriage, sorry about that, you know, it can be, you know, a lot, you know, and you guys are still pretty young, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're the same age.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty young too, man. No,
9-year-old.
it can be a lot, you know, and especially as a couple, you know, as a young couple, and you know, it can be like somewhat strainful with the relationship. Challenging, definitely, you know, and we kind of wanted to see like, you know, okay, what are you guys doing that, you know, you guys are a strong couple? Because, you know, we sometimes get that question, like, you know, what do you guys do? You know, and I have people at work like, oh, you know, I have this problem. Like, I don't know. Like, it really depends on your relationship. You know, like, so far what I see from you guys is like, you know, communication and a lot of support. Is there anything that I'm missing that has made your relationship the way it is?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I want to say the fact that we're ambitious, right? We want more. We're not going to settle. I always told her I want to do a lot of things, right? But I also want her to have her own business. I don't want her to have to go get a job anymore. I want her to do the YouTube. I want her to, you know, to if she wants to make CMOS, whatever she wants to do, and sell it, then I'll encourage that. You know, there was also, I remember she was telling me that she found a website where they were selling breast milk, and she was pumping a lot. I mean, we filled up the freezer, and we didn't use it all. So I was like, wow, that is a good business. But at the same time, I don't want her to do something for the money, right? We want to do something that we enjoy and love. We love to travel, and that's why we want to do a travel vlog. I just felt that right now wasn't the best time to start that because of COVID. But now that everything's opening up, you know, I personally, I told her I want to start doing events. You know, I haven't done events in 7 years. And that's something that I enjoy doing. I did a couple comedy shows as well, so I'm gonna be competing with JD. But I want to organize comedy shows. I want to organize Velez, you know, and that'll tie into my YouTube channel, which is mostly related to music. And then I want to start a record label. So I want to start signing groups, you know, local groups from Richmond, groups in Sinaloa. And investing them, and you know, investing them and getting them out there. And again, I'm not gonna forget about her because I want her to have her successful business as well. So
That's what's up.
she can tell you what kind of business she wants.
I don't know yet.
She doesn't
I'm in
know.
between a lot.
Well, you're still young, so you know you guys can think about it. But
I'll think about it for 10 years, 10 more years. Then.
But yeah, so is there anything that we're missing though? I know. Like I said, just from when we've talked to couples, I kind of get like little things like, okay, I see what you guys are doing. And it's nice, you know, having a support system. All the relationships that have worked out that we've seen, you know, it has a support system, has communication, and it has a lot of things that make something work, you know, and things that don't. We've had her cousin come over and explain a lot of the things that, like, that's definitely one of the things that you shouldn't be doing. You know, those are things that you should be working on consistently because technically it's a job, you know, being together, being as a couple, as a wife, you know, it's a job.
Well, like I mentioned, the ambition is a really important part, but I also think that, going out of the norm, as in not being the type of relationship that's in Hollywood or in the Disney movies, right? Because I always tell her those are false expectations, and we try to be realistic when it comes to everything, and we don't want to have the most expensive things. That's not what makes us happy. We're not thinking materials. We do want to have our own house, of course, but if she was that type of way, I mean, the previous relationships that I've had were short. I had maybe like a 2-week relationship and then a 3-month relationship, and it was because of the materialism. That's not something that I want to encourage. I'm not going to spend all my money on name brands. If we're at a higher level and we're making more money, then we can buy a few things. I can get my Tesla, and she can have her Model X Tesla as well.
Yeah.
But if we're not there, I'm not just gonna spend all the money and put ourselves in debt, right? So we've been smart with our money, but also as with where we are, right? We did think about moving, and if it's the best thing for us to do to move out of the Bay, then for us for us to be successful, then that's what we're gonna do. But we can always come back in the future.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I think that's important, like, managing your money and like not looking at things as a material things. I mean, when Ari was born, I went and spent $100 at the thrift store, and that's how I clothed my baby. Like, I just spent a whole bunch, like $100, and I had little onesies and all that stuff for her. And I did that for Aiden too. Is like I used to dress him from the thrift store or like Walmart or whatever. I know there's kids that are like Jordans at like a young age. I mean, yeah, we get them nice shoes, but our kids were Ross and Walmart.
And there's nothing wrong with that. See, and society tells us that it's wrong, right? At least when we were in high school, right, that we were looked at wrong because we weren't wearing Jordans or specific brands. But I didn't care. I tell everyone that when I was in elementary school, everyone knew me that I wear the same jacket every day. And the reason why I wore the same green jacket every day was because I wanted to hide the shirt, because I had the same shirt too. So we didn't grow up with money. I didn't ask my parents for clothes. I didn't ask them for money. I didn't want to be that person because I knew that we were struggling, and I might have been a little bit ashamed, but I don't regret it. Even when it was hot, it was summertime. I had my jacket on. I was sweating, but I didn't want to take it off because I didn't want to be seen wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, and society, bro, was like I fell into that. Like I remember high school. I've always felt pressure. Like you have to wear, like
the long tee,
the Air Forces. So I was always.
What was those jeans that were like hella pockets and like different colors, and they were so fucking
Jabos.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I felt pressured into like having everything. So what I would do is my dad would work in construction, so I would go with him every summer. So I work every day in the summer, just to get that money so I can go shopping and get the things that I thought I wanted, and now that I'm older, like oh fuck it, just buy some Adidas, buy something that's comfortable.
He gets shoes from OfferUp.
Yeah, I'm very thrifty now. Like like little things that I can buy new, but if I can get it for cheaper, why not?
Well, here you can find shoes hanging on the electric wires. You don't even have to shop.
Yeah, you're right, bro. Yeah,
good shoes too.
Yeah, but that, but that's society though. Society does that in a place.
Again, going back to that, we don't compare ourselves to those types of relationships. We don't want to be like anyone else. We want to more than anything influence people to be different, right? As a child. What would help me a lot was moving from Oakland to Richmond, because I was 12 years old when that happened, and I lost all my friends. So I completely changed. I was in bad in Oakland. I mean, I would have ended up in jail or in prison, right? That's the path that I was taking. And when I moved to Richmond, it just changed me. I was like, hey, I don't want to be that guy, right? And I started getting good grades, straight A's, at least 8th and 9th grade. But I would analyze more. I would look at people. I would see people act up in class, and I'm like, why are they behaving that way? I don't want to be that way. They're doing it to impress women. They're doing it to impress everyone else. And yes, that everyone knew them, but where are they now, right? And that's when I made the decision again to not be that way. I didn't want to follow everyone else.
Yeah, no, that's an important lesson, honestly, because with me, same thing, pressure, man. Like I felt pressured. That I used to do a lot of things like what you're just mentioning, not to impress girls, but just because I didn't want to fall behind, and it can go wrong. Sometimes you can overextend, and
Well, it's competitive, it's like an alpha male thing, right?
Yeah.
Men want to be strong, right? Because usually it's the bad boys that gets the women, right? So in high school, it's all about who fights more, who gets in trouble in class. That's the one that gets the women, right? Why is it that way? I don't know, right? It's not something that I agree with, but it happens, right?
Yeah, and I remember in high school, one of the best examples is you used to see like guys knuckle fighting, like just hitting knuckles. And like,
you used to do that.
I used to do that, bro.
And Mario was one of the best ones.
Exactly. But that's the reason, like, you need to like tell everybody and prove to yourself.
Graciela was impressed with the knuckles.
She's going nuts, bro.
She was like,
no, but it's funny. Senior year, I stopped.
You couldn't even hold his hand because it was broken.
But senior year, I stopped because I already met her. I don't need to do that. But it goes to the same thing. It's alpha male, like you need to like make sure that everybody knows like you're the best at this. I ain't gonna fuck with you with that. And it plays the role, bro.
Yeah, we were competing in ping pong too.
Yeah, ping pong, bro.
Everything.
I remember that.
But women do too. I mean, they don't like to say it, but they're competing with one another when they get ready, when to go out to the grocery store or anywhere else, right? Right, Mario?
Yeah.
They're awfully quiet.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, no, but I think relationships can crumble, and I like you guys' attitudes, like just don't focus on other people, kind of like how we've been doing as well. Like we don't focus on other people, just on us, and I think that's important, definitely.
Yep,
for sure. Cool. You guys have any questions before we close this off?
No.
Yeah, no, actually, enjoy, guys. Thank you for coming in. Like it was kind of like our schedules were changing, and appreciate you guys coming. I like this conversation.
Yeah, thank you guys for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
No, thank you, and thank you for like the ring light. It helped out a lot, bro.
Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna try to help you guys get some videos too. I told Mario, if you guys need help with editing, I'll offer some of my time.
No, appreciate it. I'll hit you up, bro, for sure. I
want you guys to be successful in this, and what you guys are doing. And from what I've heard, I try to listen to the podcast when I'm running, or when I'm driving, and I did hear some of the things that you guys said, and these are things that I don't hear in other podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's because it goes against the mainstream.
Yeah.
And it's not what wants to be promoted, right?
Yeah.
But if you guys continue doing this, that it will grow eventually. And what I told Mario, I want to see you guys just have the podcast and not have to work a job.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Essentially,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
You guys just do this.
I'm over here
full-time.
like I'm just doing it for this guy.
Yeah.
No, but see, a lot of people don't know about YouTube ad revenue, and Facebook and Instagram also pays you ad revenue, and so it can turn into an income, and it's a residual income. So all the videos that you've posted over the years, they continue to grow and they continue to pay you.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about YouTube, and I always encourage people to get into YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's hard, right? Even for me.
Yeah.
But now that I want her to start a channel, she can't find where to start, and you just have to take that leap.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see you guys doing it. You guys didn't do it before, but there's nothing wrong with doing it at this time. Yeah. I'm thankful that you guys invited us.
No, thank you for coming. And kind of going with what you were saying is like, like we're not really doing it for the money. or the like, what if. It was more like a therapeutical. But then kind of going into like all the setup and like, going into like, okay, how do I start?
There's been a lot of investment.
Yeah, there's a lot of
and you guys can write everything off because it's a business.
Yeah,
it's a business expense.
Yeah, and like in researching everything and like how do I stream this? How do I post this? Like, you start seeing things like, you can get paid. YouTube is one of the most popular ones out there. And then there's ad revenues from just, going into Spotify, people pick you up. Little things like that I've learned along the way. Like, oh, shit, this can be an income for sure. But, right now we're just for sure like...
Now the question is, whose bank account is it going to go to?
I set the whole thing up.
Mario's keeping all the money.
No, I mean, we always go 50-50. So, yeah. Yeah, so
make sure you check the statements.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for tuning in and listening. We'll see you in the next one.
All right.
Thank you.